Hi guys, welcome back to the Flix Files. Before I get into today's video, I just want to give a big thank you to anyone that has subscribed up to this point. It's been about 2 months since I started this channel, and right at the beginning I had an aim of reaching a lofty 10 subscribers by Christmas. I always thought the growth of my channel would be very slow because I don't have any other kind of online presence. I don't have an Instagram or a Facebook page or anything like that. So I'm just relying on people coming across my videos randomly on YouTube and hopefully liking what they're seeing and subscribing. So those of you that have subscribed and stuck with me, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I thought I would change my goal and try and reach 100 subscribers by Christmas. That would just be amazing. I used to work in a school in a previous life, so I'm used to seeing what a room full of 32 children looks like. And, you know, it's quite a busy, bustly room. So to imagine what 100 people would be like in that same room, if I can reach that many subscribers, would just be unbelievable. You know, when I see people that I follow on YouTube that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, it's just incredible. I don't think I'll ever be up to their level of subscribers, but I'm very happy for each and every one that I have. So thank you so much. I also want to say that if you do like any of my particular types of videos, and there's certain ones that you tend to gravitate towards, please let me know. I'm very happy for that kind of feedback and to, you know, adapt the kind of videos that I make for the sort of videos that you all want to watch. So, you know, please let me know. So today I thought I would delve into my book collection again and go through all of the James Bond related books that I have. I have a fair amount, about 15. A couple of them, for anyone that have watched my previous videos, there may be a couple of books that you will have already seen because they've appeared in different themed videos, but the majority of them you won't have seen. So if you're a James Bond fan, you might want to give this a watch, and hopefully there's a book or two in this pile that you'll think, oh, that looks quite interesting. I'll see if I can get my own copy of that. So, okay, let's go and have a look. Okay, before I get onto the books, I just want to show you one thing that I did find when I was getting them off of my bookshelf that was tucked between some of the books that I had. If you're a James Bond fan, you might find this interesting. This is the James Bond stamp collection that was issued by the Royal Mail in 2008. I remember my other half, she bought me this because she knows I'm a big Bond fan. And yeah, I remember, I'm not really into stamps. I don't collect stamps by any means, but when she gave me this, I thought, oh, that's really sweet. That's really nice. And, you know, I've kept it and I've always thought it was a nice little thing for my collection. So we actually have the real stamps are tucked in here. And it seems that each particular stamp has 4 different covers of Ian Fleming novels, I believe they are. They're not the movie posters. Yeah, it's just a nice little curio that I liked, and it was there in between my books, and I thought, oh, what the heck, I'll show them that as well. So these aren't in any order, they're just in order of size because it was how they stacked. So the first book I've got is this little curiosity that I think I was given for Christmas one year as like a stocking filler. That's just called The Little Book of Bond. And it just seems to be full of quotes from various characters and various films. And that's all it is. It's very bizarre. You know, it's not exactly a book that I've read from cover to cover. You know, I've kind of flicked through it a few times. But it is a James Bond book, so I've kept hold of it and treat it as part of my collection. Yeah, but it is just a little curiosity. It's not a book that I think will win anyone over. and I guess it fulfilled its requirement as a stocking filler. The next one is a book that will be familiar to people that watch my other videos. This is the novelisation of Licence to Kill, written by John Gardner. I did say in that other video that I'm a massive fan of Licence to Kill. That is my favourite Bond movie. And when Licence to Kill was about to be released, I bought this novelisation so I could read up on the story before I saw the movie. I used to do that a lot when I was younger, when novelizations were a thing. And if anyone's interested in novelizations, if you look at my older videos, I have done a video that talks about all the novelization books that I have. This next Bond book is a real gem. It's Roger Moore's 007 Diaries, that covers the filming of Live and Let Die. This is a new re-release, so it is a new book, and I have read it, and it's absolutely fantastic. He has written it like a diary, so each chapter covers a particular day. So if I just open it at random, you'll see that it's saying here day 35, and he talks about, you know, what they did of filming on that particular day and any little anecdotes of what happened during that day's filming. And it's a really, really good book. I have another book in this collection that was written by Roger Moore on the subject of James Bond. And he's a really good author. He's very good at getting stories across and anecdotes with the written word. And if you're a fan of Roger Moore's James Bond, and particularly of Live and Let Die, then I really, really advise you to get this book. It's just a fantastic read, and it's just very good hearing about the making of a Bond movie from day to day, from the main star's perspective. It's quite unique in that way. So the next book is a fictional novel, a James Bond fictional novel called Scorpius, written by John Gardner, who's the author that did the Licence to Kill novelisation that I showed you earlier. I bought this when it first came out because I can remember reading about it and being very excited. When was that? 1988. And for the life of me, I can't remember the actual story. I think I only read it once when I first bought it, and I haven't read it since. I really should read it again, but yeah, it is what it is. It's there. It's part of my collection. I won't get rid of it. I will get round to reading it at some point. Yeah, so that's that one. The next one is another kind of stocking filler book that I was given one Christmas. Bond, Cars and Vehicles. I do have another kind of book to do specifically with Bond cars, which we'll get to in a moment. This is more of a small, I guess you'd call it, coffee table book. It has lots of nice colour photographs of all the different cars and vehicles that were used in all the movies. The information is a bit sparse. It's more to do with, you know, looking at the pretty pictures than it is about actually getting, you know, meaty information. But again, it's not a bad little book. It's one that I'm glad I've got in my collection. I mean, it's got a price of £10, so it wasn't overly expensive. Yeah, so that's that one. The next one is Roger Moore's biography, My Word Is My Bond. I've read this twice, and it's a really, really cracking good read, and a very witty read. Roger Moore was quite a joker, and he was well known for being a joker on film sets. One of his mantras was that he always wanted to keep a film set light in tone and, you know, keep everyone jovial. He certainly didn't like working in a tense atmosphere. I mean, who does? But he has some brilliant stories that he tells in this book. And one line that I always remember that sticks in my mind is where he was talking about when he worked on A View to a Kill, his last James Bond film. And he was talking about Grace Jones, the actress who plays one of the Bond women in that movie. And he comes up with the line. He says, "I've always went." He says it, in relation to Grace Jones. He says, "I've always been of the mantra that if you've got nothing good to say about somebody, you're best saying nothing at all." So there you go. Take into that what you will. This next book was one I really wanted, and it was a real hard one to find, which is John Glenn's biography, For My Eyes Only. John Glenn was a director of, I think he did 5 Bond movies. So he's the only director to do that many Bond movies back to back. And he's a very interesting character. He's had a long history of working in the movie business. Of being an editor and working as a second unit director and things like that. And this is a very well written and in-depth book. If you've got any kind of an interest in James Bond or the British film industry or anything like that, I would definitely recommend trying to get a copy of this. I was lucky. I managed to find a copy on eBay that was in nice condition. So I was really, really pleased when I got this. But yeah, I highly recommend it, with a foreword by Roger Moore as well. This next one isn't exactly a James Bond book, but it's about the Pinewood Studios in England. And you'll see James Bond features on the cover. And it is the story of Pinewood Studios and the films that have been made at Pinewood Studios. But it's fair to say that James Bond features very heavily in this book, because James Bond has got a very long history of being at Pinewood Studios. So there is a lot of information in there, as regards James Bond and Cubby Broccoli and the films that were made there. So again, if you've got interest in British film industry, or Pinewood Studios, which I have. I've never visited Pinewood Studios, even though it's only, like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour drive from where I live. And I do want to go there one day. I'm hoping that I can make it happen and I can convince my other half to go with me. This next book is the Bond in Motion book that I bought when I went to the exhibition that was being held in London, where they had all the Bond cars. If you watch I think it was the second video I ever did on this channel, where I talked about my James Bond history, I give a little anecdote in that about when I went to this exhibition. And it was a story relating to the Lotus Esprit that features in The Spy Who Loved Me, this car here. So yeah, if you want to hear that little story, then if you go back and watch that video, you might find it quite interesting. So this is a book that they sold in the souvenir shop at that exhibition, and I had to pick it up. And I'm really glad I did, because there's some really, really nice photographs in this book that I haven't seen anywhere else. So yeah, I was really glad to pick this up. The only thing that's slightly disappointing is it's gone slightly discoloured on the cover, and I don't know why, whether it was just where I was holding it on the day. Yeah, so that's Bond in Motion. This next one is a real gem. This is a fairly recent book. It's The Making of the Living Daylights. What's the name of the guy that wrote it? Charles Helfenstein. I think he also wrote a book on the making of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But this is the one I really wanted because, as I said, it's my favourite movie. It's a fairly recent book. It was published in 2012. And it's kind of just exactly what it says on the tin. It's a very in-depth logging of the entire making of The Living Daylights. And it's an absolutely cracking read. If anyone's got the Living Daylights on Blu-ray or DVD, and there's a documentary called Inside the Living Daylights, I mean, it's clear that the guy who wrote this book watched that 30-minute documentary, and all of the information that was in there is put into this book. But he has added a heck of a lot more information as well. So it is quite exhaustive, and it is a big, hefty read. But as you can see, there's lots of really nice behind the scenes photographs. I mean, there's a picture of John Glenn, who I was just talking about, chatting with Timothy Dalton. And yeah, it's a lovely, lovely book. And it, as I say, it's a real gem. And, you know, if you like The Living Daylights, you might want to think about picking this up. It's still a fairly recent book, so it may be still fairly easy to pick up, hopefully, if you want to try and get a copy of it. But highly recommend it. So the books are getting slightly bigger now. So this next one is Bond on Bond. So this is kind of Roger Moore's take on the whole Bond phenomenon, where he breaks down the different actors and the different films and, you know, the different cast members that have been in the Bond movies, and just gives his unique spin on all of that. And, you know, again, it's a light to read coffee table book, but it's laced with Roger Moore's witty charm again. And as I say, he was a really good, light-hearted comedic writer, bless him. And it's a real shame he's no longer with us. But, you know, he lived to a good age, and he had a full life. And he will always be my James Bond, without a doubt. He was James Bond when I was in my formative years and I was growing up. So he'll always be my favourite. But yeah, that's Bond on Bond. Again, you know, reasonably recent book. So I think it's fairly easy to find a copy of this on eBay, and I highly recommend it. This next one I've shown in a previous video. It's The Making of Licence to Kill. You know, again, big fan of Living Daylights, and when I knew that Licence to Kill was coming out, I think this was released just before the movie hit the cinemas. But I remember buying it around that time and just pored over this book dozens of times, you know, studied every photograph, and it got to the point that when I saw Licence to Kill for the first time, it almost felt like I'd already seen it because I'd gone through this book so much. But a good read, you know, and if you're a big Bond fan, it might be one that you want to pick up. Who wrote this? I can't see the name anywhere. Does it say? No, it doesn't say. That's interesting. But yeah, if you can pick it up, it might be one that for your collection, The Making of Licence to Kill. This next book, again, was in my previous making of book collection, and this is possibly my favourite Bond book of them all, the official James Bond movie book. And as I said in the other video, the reason I like this book so much is the way it's laid out. It's a very simple design. So it goes through the movies in order. So I'll just pick On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And each movie in the book is covered in the same way. So you have, you know, like a preamble on the actual movie and the pre-title sequence. A section talking about what the assignment is in the movie. Any equipment that was issued to Bond that he uses in the movie. And then it goes into the enemies, you know, the main enemy, and if they've got like a henchman. A section on the Bond girl. And then they have a section on the background story of the making of it. And then like a little section at the bottom here that has like the casting credits list and the runtime and things like that. So if I skip forward, there's Diamonds Are Forever. You know, exactly the same layout. Bond girls, and then the background story section at the back. And yeah, it's a lovely, lovely book, and I've always enjoyed this book. And when I used to do Bondathons, where I'd watch every Bond movie in order, you know, over like a month or something like that, I would always go to this book and read up on the movie I was about to watch first, and then watch the movie. This particular edition only goes up to The Living Daylights because that was the newest film at the time this book was made. I believe they did a revised version a few years later that includes Licence to Kill. So yeah, that copy may be around as well. But as I say, a really lovely book, and I've had this since 1987, and you know, you can tell that I've looked after it. I've still got the dust cover and everything, and yeah, it's probably my all-time favourite James Bond book. Okay, we're on to the last one. This is the biggest book. This is a book that I think I received as a Christmas present one year, which is Filming Skyfall Bond on Set. And this really is a big coffee table book. And it's just filled with photographs about the filming of Skyfall. And so it kind of is a making of book, but the focus is more on the photographs. So the information contained herein is minimal, but there's some really lovely photographs in here, you know, big full color spreads. You know, and if you like Skyfall, as I'm sure you do if you're a Bond fan, this is a pretty nice book to pick up. It's a heavy, as I say, big coffee table book, and I'm guessing it's still a fairly easy book to find because it is. I mean, this would have come out when the film came out, so it's like 2012. So it's like 12 years ago. So yeah, there we go. That's my last Bond book. So there we are. That's my, albeit small, collection of James Bond books. I hope you enjoyed that. So over the coming weeks, I'm going to be concentrating on doing more hidden gems, guilty pleasures, and science fiction retrospectives and reviews. So as I said at the beginning of this video, if there's a particular type of review that you would like me to focus on, then please let me know. I don't want to be putting videos out there that people just aren't interested in seeing. You know, it's all about me evolving to your requirements and trying to provide videos for you that you would like to watch. So yeah, thank you for that. And hopefully you've got this far. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And as I said previously, I don't like groveling, but if you haven't subscribed yet and you know you've liked this video, maybe have a look at some of the other videos I've uploaded. And if you like those too, give me a subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a click of a button and it really helps me out. So, okay, thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.